So another thing I want to show you is how when we do a query or we do a form or report, the services needed are usually going to be coupled together like this, where they're listed together. And I want to show you, like, sometimes maybe you'll want that separated out, that data separated out when it gets split out of the program. So we're going to create a query real quick off of this client table. So I'm going to go to create, and I'm going to go to query design. I'm going to bring in my client table. And the information I want from the client table includes the client number, the client name, the client type, and the services needed. Now, if I run it just like this, what I'm going to see when I run it is that this multi-valued field, where it has multiple values to it, is going to list just like it does in the table. But what I can do is I can actually set it to be working a little bit differently. Instead of grabbing the whole field, I can make it grab each value inside that multi-value field and separate them out. Because for instance, Bavant has 4 values in this field: add, band, bill, and logo. That's 4 values within the multi-valued field. And I can make it separated out so that each one shows in its own row. And what I want to show you here is that when you go to services needed, if you've noticed here, there's a services needed dot value option that's kind of inside of services needed that you can collapse and expand. And that is each individual value inside the multi-value field. So I can go select that instead. And when I run it, you're going to see that it's going to list each out separately. It is repeating the clients and their information, but it's listing them out separately, which I think could be important, especially if you wanted to like filter out just those that had ad, so you can send that off to your advertising section of your company. So we could go to our design tab here and we can make the criteria be ad and then hit run. And you're going to see which companies need ad services. And that way you could spit this out and send this off to somebody else so that they would know which companies they are working with. There are other things that we can do. Let's go ahead and save this too. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and save this to be, let's see here. I'm going to save this clients by service type and click OK. And actually, let's go back into design view, and I'm going to remove the add criteria and run it so that I can see the clients by their service type. And then we're going to go ahead and create something else as well to help us be able to manage this data. So instead of this query, what I want to do next after saving this is I want to create a crosstab query. We've created lots of queries before, but we haven't created a crosstab query before. And this allows you to create a statistic or calculation, something like sum or average or count inside of a query so that they're grouped by that information. So when we do this, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the query wizard for this, because one of them is not just a simple query, but a crosstab query. And you can see that it says it displays data in a compact spreadsheet-like format, and we can have those calculations. And we are going to go ahead and pull from the client table and leave it right there. But what you can see is that it's like, okay, so I'm going to list information. I've got header 1, header 2, header 3, and then I've got total in the middle. So let's see what happens here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the city over here for the crosstab query. And you'll see that the second I bring city over for my row headings, it's going to list each city separately here. Then what we're going to do is change these headers up at the top. So on the next step, instead of the row headings, we're going to change the column headings to be by business analyst number. So what it's going to do is it's going to compare each city and the business analyst number and give us a total where they meet. This is the most important part. So in city 1, right here, we're going to see BA number 1's total amount. Now the question is, what is it totaling, right? Over here, we would see city 1, BA number 2's total, but again, we don't really know what it's totaling. So if we click next here, the last step allows us to be able to choose what is totaling. So we can see like how much have they paid here. And you're going to see it's defaulting to a count function when really we want to be doing a sum function. And we can add together what they have paid, what these city types have paid out to each of these business analysts. And then we can go ahead and hit next and rename this. I'm going to go ahead and rename this a city analyst crosstab. And let's go ahead and view the query and click finish. And you'll see that now I've got each business analyst, I've got each city, and I'm seeing what the total is for each business analyst in that city and where they're working, and then the total for each city individually. It's kind of a really quick way to make some calculations and a really awesome way to be able to bring some stuff in.